Hello ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? It's your boy Izlo33. Welcome you to this week's predictions video, and we've got the best matches here, as this is going to be for the LCS's week 1 of the summer playoffs. We've got 4 games that are going to happen, 2 of which we know of the actual teams involved, the other we know one of the teams involved. So without further ado, let's jump into last week's results and we'll go over them probably one by one, because there's quite a lot to talk about for them and there's not a lot to talk about for predictions. Before we get into the actual result rundown, we had one extra tiebreaker match this weekend in the LCS, and it was CLG versus Dignitas for the 8th spot in the playoffs bracket. Obviously that is the loser side of things, and I went with Dignitas in this game, and Dignitas actually did win this, so there's a reason why there's actually 11 results instead of the usual 10 for the LCS, and why the result is 1 extra than what it should be. So let us jump into the results. We're going to be covering the LEC first, and the LEC, it was a super week. There was 3 days worth of games, 15 games in total, and let's just say we did very good. Out of the possible 15 results, we got 11 correct. The only results that we dropped were 2 on the first day, which was Vitality beating Rogue and XL beating OG. Then on the second day, we dropped the XL game yet again. They beat Fnatic, well, they lost to Fnatic, and on our last day, we dropped the Mad Lions result to Schalke. I was not a believer in the full miracle run, but yeah, lost to Schalke on the final day, giving us a total of 11 out of 15, taking the grand total for the regular split up to 52 out of 90, which is obviously a very, very, very big result. As for the LCS, we had obviously the extra playoff place contention game in that tiebreaker, so it took our result up from 7 out of 10 to 8 out of 11. The results we dropped were Golden Guardians losing to Evil Geniuses, Dig beating 100 Thieves, 100 Thieves beating EG, and that's it. So we dropped a couple of 100 Thieves games expecting them not to beat the teams, and we also dropped some Dig games as well. But yeah, this was actually a very, very good weekend for us, because it took our total for the regular split up to 63 out of 91. Again, 2 completely different regions and a complete 11 difference. Basically a full week's worth of games was the difference between the 2 regions this split. Nonetheless, that are the results. Let us jump into this week's predictions. So let us jump into our Anarchy Analysis series of the week, because we're now into best of 5s, and we're going to be covering Golden Guardians and TSM as the first round matchup in the upper bracket. And honestly, this is a very interesting matchup to me. Out of the 2 that are happening, obviously the other being FlyQuest and EG, TSM and Golden Guardians are very, very competitive whenever they compete. Granted, most of the time TSM win, but if you look at the 2 rosters and coming into best of 5s, these are the 2 rosters that will realistically pull out anything realistically. They'll pull out the random picks. When you've got DeMonte in the mid lane, if you remember, he was known on Clutch Gaming for his Quiana and his picks that are Assassini/Unique, and he can whip out whatever he wants. Whereas through the entirety of this split, TSM have pulled out the most unique picks in the league. And this matchup I want to cover because I'm expecting some massive picks for either team realistically, and I haven't covered Golden Guardians extensively this split. I've probably covered them the least, and they're a playoff place team that just hasn't seen any focus from me, so I figured we might as well cover them for once. But as I'm gonna say now, let us make my prediction now. As a whole, I'm gonna go TSM winning the series 3-1, and that is a big thing to say because I don't realistically expect it to be a close series considering how these two teams have fared in recent performances, but I still think that this will be an exciting game. We'll get 4 games out of the possible 5, and nonetheless, we'll have fun in this playoffs. So, we have a rematch from the Spring Split playoffs in the first round between Evil Geniuses and FlyQuest. Now, last time these two teams faced off, FlyQuest won the series 3-1, and it was in a very dominant fashion, and as a whole, I think we may see the same result again, as I'm gonna make the prediction now. FlyQuest are winning this series 3-1. I'm gonna go with the same result as what I predicted for TSM, as I just feel, you look at the two rosters as a whole, FlyQuest have been the most consistent team in this league, and they've been on the up and up. They're currently 3rd seed into playoffs, and realistically should dominate EG, who are in the 5th, 6th spot, as TSM are in 4th, and Golden Guardians are in the 5th/6th spot. But as a whole, I'm gonna have to say FlyQuest should win this. They've got the better top lane, because Solo is just a lot stronger than Huni. In current meta, Solo has just been a dominant player for this FlyQuest squad. You've then got in the jungle Santorum versus Svenskeren. Fairly even, but Santorum has been the better performer this entire split. He's won 2 Player of the Weeks in the LCS, and there's only one other person who has done that. He's also been the rock in that jungle that creates the plays across the map, and what more is having PoE, Power of Evil, in your mid lane, who's been performing very, very solid. You don't really hear much complaints about him. He's just been there doing his job, and as such, realistically is the main carry for this team while Turtle was obviously out for a couple of weeks. That being said, since the return of Wild Turtle in the bot lane, he has been an unstoppable monster. He has defeated so many teams with his actual play. He's revitalized his career, I would say, on his return to the LCS, and has got so good, especially with his partner in the bot lane, Ignar, who has been the strongest support in the league for a long time. He was strongest last split, and he was probably just behind Vulcan, but there's another top support this split that we'll talk about in our next video that's coming out on Thursday. But yeah, I would have to go with FlyQuest as a whole. They've got a far stronger squad. They've been playing a lot better than EG over recent weeks, and EG have been quite inconsistent as stated, but it seems though it's going over 5 games possibly. I've got to say it's going to be a 3-1 to FlyQuest. Now, I did say earlier that there are more than just these 2 matches in the LCS this week in terms of playoffs, and I was right about that, because these 2 games that are happening that we know about are the upper bracket matches, and in the upper bracket you get essentially 1 loss, and then your second loss is when you're out, and if one of these 2 teams loses here, they go down into the lower bracket, and we already know their first round opponents will be either Dignitas and 100 Thieves, but we don't know who's going to be facing who, and we don't know like the actual matchup personally, because Dignitas could realistically do very good against EG or Golden Guardians, but they may lose to say a TSM or FlyQuest, and we don't know who they're going to face, so we can't exactly predict anything, so I'm not going to predict anything that I don't know the opponents for. That being said, I will predict these matches, and you will see next week my results. The reason being, I'm going to predict them on Twitter. If you know my @sign, it's in the description as well, a link to it, as they would say. But yeah, go check that out. I'll make sure to put it in the description. You should see it on screen right now, my actual Twitter @izlo33. Go follow that. I post things about the LCS and the LEC and anything realistically. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video. It's going to be very short and sweet. If you enjoyed it, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new here if you want to, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.